Welcome to Protect and Grow with Chicagoland certified financial planner Tim Stearns of TJ Stearns Incorporated. Trust, respect, and results. TJ Stearns Incorporated focuses on comprehensive financial planning and benefits.
And welcome into the program. This is Protect and Grow Chicagoland Retirement with Chicagoland certified financial planning professional. Your resource, ladies and gentlemen, he is Tim Stearns, CFP, here to address some of the complex issues that we face trying to make that financial progress as proactive planning savers and investors. Tim, always a pleasure. And we're in the midst of football season.
Yes, we are in Chicagoland. That's not necessarily a good thing right now, but we are in. Most people are in football season. I don't know about the Chicago Bears this season.
Well, that seems like an unrelated kind of segue to make at the beginning of a financial planning discussion. But today we are going to be talking about some football or sports kind of analogies with our financial and retirement planning progress. And Tim, I want to start by saying that it is a service that you offer to help people make it to and through the end zone, right? To get to retirement, to achieve that goal of that ideal Super Bowl kind of retirement, right?
Well, Peter, the way I look at, like my life, for example, I'm 51 years old. I mean, my goal is to get to retirement at some point, and not be a burden on family and that type of thing. So that takes planning. And, it's, as you're older, you're kind of at the crunch time, right? That you need to make sure you take care of the money that you've made. One of the things I just harp on people in our college classes all the time is, you cannot invest like you're 40 anymore, right? So I'm talking about, this being let's call it the red zone, right? I'm in my late 50s, early 60s. Don't screw it up, right? I've been a saver my whole life. The last thing I want to do is take some losses right before I go into retirement.
Yep. Well, not everybody, Tim, is going to be a diehard football fan, but we will try to keep the conversation today entertaining, enlightening, educational for your financial planning, well-being as well, ladies and gentlemen. But if you've got questions, concerns, the real value of the program is that you do have a resource, personal individual that you can be in touch with. Tim Stearns, CFP, as well as the rest of the team there at TJ Stearns Inc. are here for you to help you create and craft that Protect and Grow written retirement income plan. If you would like to take advantage, or for the first 10 callers, if you would like a copy of Tim Stearns' new book, The Retirement Riddle, pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256. And Tim, again, sports in general, I think, the hard work, the discipline, practicing good techniques, facing adversity, the risk that's inherent, maybe injury or the desire to win the game, right? Those are all things that we want to do in our financial progress as well. We want to have the hard work, the discipline. We're going to need the discipline. We're going to need to practice good techniques. And like you said, football, we've seen a lot of it, unfortunately, this year's with the Bears fumbling in the red zone, right? And as you stated, that is something we want to not to do, if at all possible, because in our financial lives, there is a time right around retirement where not turning the ball over, not taking substantial losses becomes paramount to our success.
Well, I mean, when you get in the red zone, right, we're saying like the 5 years before and the 5 years right after, that kind of determines what your retirement's going to look like. It's called sequence of returns risk. So one of the things I'm talking about is let's not fumble during those times, right? Let's batten down the hatches and make sure we're taking care of our money. Maybe we have some stop losses, some active management, but we're also making sure that we don't take extraordinary losses like people did in 2022 or 2008 or in the early 2000s. So let's not screw up what we have and retain what you've made in the markets and what you've worked so hard to accumulate. It seems like, as you have talked about, a bear market, takes the elevator, a bull market takes the stairs. Well, let's not evaporate our money right at the worst time that you could possibly do it, is right when you're about to retire. And that's what happened last year. And if that wasn't cold water on your face, I don't know what would be.
Tim, you've talked about sequence of returns risk and this fumbling in the red zone, right? As we're about to cross the finish line, for our analogy, into retirement. If we suffer a large loss in the years directly leading up to that transition or in the years right after that transition, it really has a much more impactful kind of consequence on our financial well-being, on our projections for continued financial stability.
Well, think about it. All right, let's pretend I have $100 when I retire. Okay. And the market goes down 20%, like on average it did last year. So now I have $80 left in my whole account. And guess what? The water and the gas bill come and I have to pay it. Now I take out that money. I've locked in that loss that I had. And now I'm down below whatever that costs to do that. And so now that is sequence of returns risk. The flip side is, let's say I had retired and I had $100 and the market had gone up 20%. Well, that makes it more manageable, right? I have $120 in my account to play with. So sequence of returns risk is a real phenomenon that we've seen. And I marvel at all the smart people that listen to this show that I have in my college classes, highly educated people, and they have no clue. But once you explain it to them, they go, oh my gosh, yeah, I get that concept. You want to make sure you take care of the money as you're about to get into retirement. Exactly. Which leads me to having, a strategy, a plan. I coached football for many years for all three of my boys. And trust me when I tell you, we had a game plan. And most people don't when they're going to retirement. 1 out of 10 do.
Well, again, if you would like to be in touch with Tim Stearns, if you would like to talk over your financial playbook, pick up the phone and give a call, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Or you can visit online, tjstearns.com, tjstearns.com. Great ways to be in touch. Office conveniently located in Arlington Heights, and the ability to attend classes held throughout the area in person or virtually, or set up an individual virtual meeting. The safety, the ease, the convenience of technology is fantastic. So to get any of those started, just pick up the phone, give a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, in the red zone, especially later in the game, if you already have the lead, right, teams become much more conservative. Another side of this is the prevent defense. If we're on that side of the ball, we try to prevent against big scores against us or turning the ball over. So those are things that in our financial lives and in our parallel analogy here with sports, we may need to consider for our financial strategy. Another lesson and moral from the football field, from the gridiron, Tim: small scores win games. And we love to celebrate the touchdown. They're a lot of fun, but that field goal kicker, as maybe lampooned as he is, gets made fun of and demeaned, a rather important part of the football team.
Well, a W is a W, right, for a win. So what I'm talking about is, when you get into the retirement dates, we tell people when we're doing a strategy for them, income allocation plan, the protect and grow, we tell them, we're going to not try to hit home runs here. We're not trying to hit grand slams either. We are not the company that you want to come to if you've been a bad saver and you're trying to hit it out of the ballpark by going into something that's really risky that could have a nice reward at the end, but it also could blow up. We're not those people. We are, conservative as far as what we tell people that we're going to be earning on their money. Anywhere from, having the strategies out there, you need to be slow and steady wins the race. We're not going to try to, if you want to use another analogy, try to get the bunts and move the runners along, right? Just a win is a win. And whether you win by 3 points or 100 points, a win is a win. And I think at this point in many of these people's careers, just keeping their money and keeping above inflation is a lot to ask for, especially as volatile as this market's doing. And that's what we need to look at.
Yep. And as glamorous, as fun and exciting as a touchdown is, Tim, that's not the ultimate goal. A touchdown helps you win a game. Over the course of the season, you need to have several winning games to have a winning record, a chance at the playoffs. And the ultimate goal is that championship, right? That Super Bowl. And similarly, if we've got an investment that has done well fantastic, but that alone is not going to get us across the goal line of retirement. We need to have the progress. We need to have the winning record during our earnings season of life, during our income earning years. And ultimately, if executed correctly, we have the opportunity to have that ideal retirement that we envision and plan for, the championship.
The championship is going to be, getting through a 30+ year retirement. We just taught a class the other night in Naperville, and one of the things that was said was, I said a 30-year retirement is conceivable, and a couple of people said, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, my mom's been retired since I graduated college, which is 1994, and she has been in retirement since then. That's 29 years. So, I mean, I've seen a lot in my days, and making sure that you can make that dollar last when people don't have pensions and that type of thing. There's a trick to it. The trick is to have a plan. And I can't harp more on that.
Again, if you need help with creating and crafting your written Protect and Grow income plan for retirement, pick up the phone, give Tim Stearns, CFP, a call, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. Tim, the game plan for the first and the second half can be very different as well. And sometimes you have to call an audible on a specific play. That plan needs to be adaptable, needs to change for conditions as well.
Well, the first half of your career, maybe even 70% of it's going to be accumulation, right? You're putting the money in there, you're pounding the money into your 401ks, your 403bs, your 457s, deferring it. And then finally, you're going to get to the point where you need to make sure you're taking care of that money. When you're 28, 29 years old, taking a hit in the market doesn't feel good, but you have time to make it back up. If you're 60 years old and you take a hit like last year of average of 20%, that's going to smart. Does that set you back that you might have to work longer? I mean, let's think about that as being your motivation why you should give us a call, right? If you are out there thinking, do I have too much risk? Let's take a look at it, because if it's in the back of your mind, it probably is in your portfolio as well.
Again, talking with Tim Stearns, CFP, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking some fantasy financial football on today's program, creating and crafting your ideal plan to get you the championship of retirement, to and through retirement with confidence. And if you'd like to get that plan put together, your Protect and Grow written retirement income plan, or if you would like a copy of Tim Stearns' new book, The Retirement Riddle, pick up the phone and give a call now, 800-640-2256, 800-640-2256. That book available for the first 10 callers to today's program. It is a book that encourages you, that discusses and identifies some of retirement's modern problems, the problems created really by some of the status quo traditional thinking about our financial lives, our investment approach, our retirement plan, but encourages you to think about those problems in a different way, as you often have to do with riddles. Think about the answer a little bit differently, and discusses the new ways to think about the issues that are plaguing retirees, the concerns, the worries, the fears that are on the minds of proactive planners, savers, and investors. If you'd like a copy of that book, again, the first 10 callers to today's program, you can receive a copy of The Retirement Riddle. Just call now, 800-640-2256. Tim, quarterbacks, they try to move the ball forward. Sometimes that does not work out and they get sacked. Now, not only do we have to get the original progress, but we've got to make up some ground. Same can happen in our financial lives. Now, we want to avoid being sacked. We've got to have the protection in place to try to prevent that. But when it happens, trying to be extra risky to catch up may not be the best approach to making up that ground.
Well, we're still seeing people that had a bull market for 13 years that's kind of taken over their portfolio where the bonds should have been, is much more risk in stocks. So they took some hits last year, and they're continuing it. So one of the jokes we say in class is, what's in your wallet? Like the commercial says, what's in your portfolio? What's underneath there? To make sure that you understand what kind of risk you're looking at. If you're taking undue risk to try to make up for last year, that's a problem too. When we manage money, we try to be transparent, disciplined, and locked into how we're going to do things. Having stop losses carries the day, in our opinion. A buy and hold, or going all into cash for months and months isn't a thing. We have to stay above inflation. Even my mom, who's 93 years old, has some portion in the stock market. But that being said, I have daily stop losses on our money because you can't mess around in retirement, in my opinion.
Don't want to take that sack, ladies and gentlemen.
No.
And if you do not want to take sacks in your financial progress, then you need some mechanisms for safety and protection in place. If you do not have those in your current approach, then certainly worth examining, taking a look at what options are out there to better define your outcome, to protect against the downside. Pick up the phone and give Tim Stearns, CFP, and TJ Stearns Inc. a call, 800-640-2256. Tim, a first down does not have to be reached in one play. And while a 70-yard touchdown pass and run is super exciting, if we simply average 3 to 4 yards per play and make that first down and continue to make that kind of progress, more than likely, we're going to eventually put points on the board and win the game.
That's the tortoise approach, and that's how we are here. We're not trying to sit there and hit crazy home runs by being a stock jockey who sits there and picks a stock, like some of these pundits do on TV. We are going to put you in a all inclusive plan that's going to talk about how to get your bills paid per month, and then more importantly, have some growth in your stock portfolio, part of it, the growth, if you will. But we're, again, not trying to, send a Hail Mary every time we get the ball. We're just trying to punch it through and get it done correctly.
I often jot down little notes to think. I was just jotting down Hail Mary retirement, Tim. Okay. I think a lot of people out there, unfortunately, that's what we have, a Hail Mary kind of approach to retirement planning. It's not ideal.
Well, you say that, and I also, you just made me remember, we had a referral. A woman was sending her sister to me, and she hadn't called, and she hadn't called, and she hadn't called. And finally, she did call, and we met with her. And then when we got all done with her income allocation plan, and we explained to her that she's going to be able to retire, I said, Jan, we tried to get a hold of you for about a year and a half. And then what finally made you come to the table? She said, well, the reason I wouldn't return your phone calls and I didn't come to see you is because I was scared I didn't have enough money, and not knowing that. And then if I didn't know it, then I'd be okay. But then I realized I had to face the news, right? Well, it turned out to be great news. And, we've also had people that it's not great news, but we can set them on a different path, right? A path of getting to retirement. If they haven't saved enough, we can show them the way. Our plans are dynamic. People are getting let go. People are getting even great stuff like new hires that are getting better bonuses and that type of thing. But at the end of the day, having a plan, a dynamic plan that will change with you like your life does.
And safety, Tim, is something that we like to have. We do appreciate in our financial progress. Safeties happen on the football field as well. It's where good defense actually creates offense. And if properly employed, if properly positioned, safety in our financial lives can create some offensive opportunity as well.
Well, some of the things you're talking about there, in my opinion, of safety is, making sure that you're mitigating taxes, one thing our accountant will tell you that he's good at being a historian. He'll tell you what happened last year, but what about getting ahead of it and actually looking at what your taxes are, maybe looking at into some Roth conversions while taxes are the income tax brackets are still low for the next couple of years. The other thing is estate planning. 6 out of 10 Americans have not addressed their estate plan. They have not done it properly. We have many people that come in here. We'll do a beneficiary, audit for them to make sure that the beneficiaries are up to snuff. And then the last one that I would talk about as far as safety goes is having insurance, that transfer of risk to an insurance company. You have home insurance, you have car insurance. The chances of you using that are slim, thankfully, right? But the chances of you using long-term care is 7 out of 10 people are going to need it. And 9 out of 10 of us haven't transferred that risk or even addressed it. So as far as safety goes for me, those are the things: mitigating taxes, having proper estate planning done with our attorney on staff here. And then lastly, of course, transferring some of that risk, or at least understanding what you're putting yourself out there for.
And Tim, a lot of people don't realize you can actually insure your retirement paycheck as well. You can insure income throughout retirement. Another aspect where a good defense actually creates the offensive opportunity, so to speak.
Yes, Peter. I mean, that's another way to transfer risk also is to have like an income annuity, a fixed index annuity does that. Full disclosure, I own one because I don't have a pension and I don't have anything in my portfolio besides that will pay me as long as I'm still breathing. I won't go one step further, and it also will pay my wife. So it's for both of us, and it goes up with inflation. So what's not to like about that? Because if you have money in just a fund, once it's at zero, they're not going to pay you anymore. With a fixed index annuity with a lifetime income rider, it will continue to pay me, and that's what I need to have for peace of mind.
If the team could ensure that they were going to score points every time they were out on the field, that would help us in our fandom, I think, and on our fantasy teams. Tim, speaking of the fantasy teams, you get to create your own lineup, right? But only from those players that are out there and available. Fantasy football has become widely popular. We have some of that same ability. We are stretching here a bit, admittedly, but within our 401ks, Tim, right? We get to pick, but only from those funds that are available. At a certain point in time in the fantasy season, it may be necessary if a player gets injured or isn't performing well to drop a player, to add a player, to change up our roster. And likewise, with those 401ks that we're so fond of using, a lot of people just set it and forget all about it and don't do that routine maintenance, don't update their rosters from time to time to try to maximize their opportunity.
Right. And if you haven't looked at your portfolio, just to even the set it and forget it need to be reviewed. I mean, things might have changed in your home. Things might have changed, for what you're looking to do. Maybe you're going to work longer because you've figured out that you need to, or you're going to work, for a shorter amount of time. Either way, you need to make sure that you're taking a look at that. One of the things with set it, forget it is that it's almost created a culture where we go, oh, it's okay. It's on autopilot. Even a good pilot takes it off of autopilot, when they're flying a plane. So I would definitely tell people to look at that. The other thing is if you're over 59 and a half, I'd say about 95% of the companies out there allow you to do an in-service withdrawal into an IRA of your choosing, whether it's with an advisor or on your own, but you could put some stop losses on that money once you move it. It doesn't cost you anything as far as taxes, and now you're in charge.
Tim, earlier we talked about calling an audible. That in-service distribution really is a fantastic audible and a great opportunity for people to make that forward progress that they need toward retirement goal lines.
Well, I find most people don't know about it. And, it's a real great gem to know about it. It's the best idea I've seen because you can take control of your retirement. And Peter, let me ask you this. Can you name the top five, let's just say three of the top five scorers out there in NFL history?
Putting me on the spot, I would have to think, the greats, the Emmitt Smiths, the Jerry Rice, the Peyton Mannings, gotta be Tom Brady, gotta be in that list somewhere, right?
Peter, most people don't know who they are, and those names, that you gave were excellent players. But believe it or not, in the top 25, there's not one that is not a kicker. These guys are all kickers are in the top 25, which I think tells you that, slow and steady wins the race. Getting 3 points is just as good as getting 6 points from a touchdown, right? You just got to do it twice, and they doing it a lot more and a lot safer. It appears that they're all still on here because these guys have kicked for a long time.
Yeah, indeed. I was just, it makes sense, I guess, when you think about it. Again, we talked about as exciting as touchdowns are, Tim, putting points on the board is what counts. And almost every time a kicker's out on the field, they're putting points on the board, and their careers, if they go uninjured, tend to last a lot longer than some of those more exciting, well-known names, I would think.
Right. So, I mean, let's be a winner, right? And have a plan. And not try to go for these gusto where you're trying to get, 90% of your money is in the stocks and that type of thing. I realize that next year is going to be a election year, and by law, according to everyone, the market's going to be up. We don't know that. No one does. This year was supposed to be the year of the recession. That didn't come. Every pundit in the world said that. So having a plan that's dynamic can have you adjust to these, different changes that will be going on throughout our lives.
It's an unpredictable football season, and the future of the markets and the economy cannot be predicted either, ladies and gentlemen. So your team may be Super Bowl bound or heading for a bust season. You need a plan in place to make sure that your financial progress and your financial goals don't have that kind of spectrum of outcome. You want to, as much as possible, put a plan in place and define that outcome, and then understand the different risks, issues, and opportunities that you have. So to get your Protect and Grow written retirement income plan, pick up the phone, be in touch with Tim Stearns, CFP, and the team from TJ Stearns, Inc. 800-640-2256. It is a complimentary, no cost, no obligation service that they offer for radio show listeners, podcast viewers. You'll also have the opportunity to ask Tim anything. If you just like to start with a 5-minute phone call, give a call to the number 800-640-2256. Voice any questions or concerns that have been on your mind. You must have a plan to get your financial life in order, make the most of the progress and the possibilities that you have. So give a call now, 800-640-2256. And Tim, one more time, that new book, The Retirement Riddle, we're very excited to be able to offer that as well.
I'd like to get it into people's hands, so give us a call. If you're the top 10 callers, we'll be able to get that to you as soon as we can.
It's a great book, ladies and gentlemen, an easy read. I would call it an airplane read, but really does get you to think about a few of the issues, the risks that we face in a new way, in a little different perspective, and helps you identify a few of the opportunities that we have available as well. So if you are one of the first 10 callers, you can get a copy of The Retirement Riddle by Tim Stearns, CFP. Pick up the phone now, 800-640-2256. That's 800-640-2256. As always, Tim, a great conversation today. Enjoyed the fun play on the football season.
Peter, thanks for having me. I had a great time as well.
Tune into Chicagoland Certified Financial Planner Tim Stearns' full radio program and visit tjstearns.com for many valuable resources, including other great episodes of Chicagoland Retirement. Be sure to subscribe.
Securities offered through TJ Stearns, a registered representative of Crown Capital Securities LP, member FINRA SIPC. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature, not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs.